What's up, Inside Lines fam? I'm your host, Atoya Burleson, and the first week of playoffs is in the books and was so fun to watch. I literally did absolutely nothing all weekend but sit around, eat, and watch football. However, there was no liquor involved because it's dry January, so I'm focused on getting my mind right and my body right. And, trying to just get on the straight and narrow, get clarity. If you haven't done dry January, it's actually really fun. And it's a challenge, but it's worth it. So, Super Bowl's around the corner. I know I'll have plenty of fun there in February. But for January, just, being mindful of clarity and doing my best and taking care of myself is really important to me. But don't worry, at Super Bowl, we will be turned. And speaking of Super Bowl, Inside Lines podcast will be live at Super Bowl at Saks Fifth Avenue on Canal Street on Thursday, February the 6th at 1 p.m. So go get your VIP tickets or your general admission tickets. They're on sale now. And if you don't get those VIP tickets, they will go like that. So make sure you go ahead and grab those ASAP. I cannot wait to be at Saks. Saks is just one of my favorites, and I know we're going to have so much fun there. So you guys make sure when you get your tickets, hit us up, let us know so we can shout you out on social media, on Instagram, at Inside Lines Podcast. We are also having another event. So like I said, the live podcast is on February 6th at Saks. That is a Thursday. And 2 days later, we are having the Ladies Playbook Brunch Awards, which is on a Saturday, February the 8th at 11:30 a.m. So grab your tickets for that as well. And let's celebrate these amazing NFL wives and girlfriends. If you're wondering what is Ladies Playbook Brunch Awards, we put together nominees in many categories, whether it's best game day gear, philanthropy, NFL couple, entrepreneurship, social media influencer. We have all of these amazing categories, and it's filled with amazing NFL women. We will send out the voting link. You go in, you vote for your favorite nominee, and we will announce the winners on Saturday, February the 8th at the brunch. We also have some amazing partners that we cannot wait to announce. We will get into that a little later, so stay tuned. But I just want y'all to know it's dry January now, but February is turn up time. So I hope y'all are getting your tickets and you're just ready to get together with women and build community and uplift one another and have some fun. Speaking of uplifting women, having fun, and building community, I want to welcome on this episode to the show the amazing Lucinda Cross. Take it away. On the podcast today, we have a media personality. She has graced the stages of CNN, The Today Show, BET, ABC, NBC, and Essence, to name a few. She is a leadership trainer for women who was listed as Forbes Next 1000, and she was honored with a Lifetime Achievement Award by President Barack Obama. She is the visionary founder and CEO of Activate Worldwide, a forceful entity dedicated to women's empowerment and women re-entry advocate. Please welcome to the show, Lucinda Cross. Hello.
Ooh,
we did it.
We did it. We're here.
We are here, and I'm so excited to have you on. I talked to you about this a little bit before, but I want to talk about when I first met Lucinda. So we were at Support Your Girlfriends in Barbados at a retreat, and it is amazing women that come together to connect, to get away of the norm in life, in work, as mothers, as significant others, and just be themselves and have a good time. And Lucinda was the bright light. She was the energy. She was the prayer warrior. She was so much fun. We had such a great time together. So I am so blessed to have you on. Thank you for coming on Inside Lines podcast.
Oh my gosh, Atoya, I absolutely love you. And thank you for having me here. I mean, I don't know if anyone knows about this, but this girl can sing. Okay. She was singing Fire and Desire on a moving bus. Okay.
Girl.
And was killing it.
A lot of people don't know that I do like to sing, and people have told me I should sing on the podcast, which I may at some point. But I got to give a shout out to Joe Shaw, S-H-A-W, my daddy, because he was the beginning of the singing of those songs of that era. I learned it all from him, and it, my kids, I probably get on their last nerves because that's me every morning. They'd be like, ugh, why you got so much energy? Why you singing so early? But I just love it. And I love being around women that are so positive and uplifting. And so that's why I'm excited to have you on, because there's so much to talk about with you. Yes.
Listen, meeting you and your energy, you're talking about me. You was a complete light, a complete vibe, and just so, it's contagious. It's like you just, and you just want to just be around you. And I love that about you, because it's like, she's just the feel good, and it's like you don't run out. You have more than enough for you and everyone else. So I love it.
Yeah, I don't know if that's good or bad. We were talking earlier, I think back in the day when I was a kid in school, it may not have been so good, but it paid off later on down the road.
What you got in trouble for? Talking.
Mm-hmm. I was talking. I finished my work quick. I was listening. When the teacher told me to do something, they didn't have to tell me twice. I was like, how quickly can I get this done so I can move on to what I really want to do? So I get my work done, and then I go over to my friends and talk to them, and I'd be told, Toya, go sit down. Atoya, leave them alone so they can get their work done. So that was on my report card every year. She's a bright student, but she just needs to control her talking and learn to stay in her seat.
It's similar to me, but I didn't get my work done first. So I was like, who can I give my cookies to get this done so that I can crack jokes? And I have some important conversations to have in our group.
The strategy. I love it. That's brilliant. Speaking of strategy, I want to talk about how you got started in this space of leadership and empowerment. Let's back it up a little bit and just tell people how you got started there.
So with this whole leadership and empowerment, and shout out to Support Your Girlfriends.
Yes.
I am the New York City chapter president.
She is the president of the New York City chapter, and she should be, because what she brings to the table is special.
Oh, love. But like attracts like. So that's what I love about the network. And so that leads into the leadership and my heart and passion, my passion to help and support women, but my purpose is to help activate them, right? And so the passion side is, I'm a vulnerable person. I am as authentic as I say I'm 100% authentic. Authenticity has no competition, right? And so the beauty of that is I'm able to support women and those who, whether you're in a fortunate or unfortunate, in transition or scaling phase, to say, listen, we still have something in common. We are on purpose on this journey together. How can we support each other to make this an easier road?
Yes.
And if I can lend an ear to that, when I was in corporate America, that was the same me. When I got into business, it's the same me. And even with my nonprofit, we're working with reentry women. It's the same purpose, right? And so it really started, I would say, from my mother.
Yeah.
Being the oldest of 3 boys, I was the only girl. So she was training me to be the matriarch of the family at a young age, but she instilled in me vision beyond what I seen, beyond what we had, beyond how we were living. She instilled there's something always greater, and it's up to you to strive for it, to manifest it into your life. And that led true to the foundation of leadership and where I stand now.
You talk about reactivating women and helping women, and that being very different. What do you mean by that?
So oftentimes there's the roller coaster ride, there's the hamster wheel, there's the I've been doing the same thing for 5 years, 10 years, 15, 20, and really not tapping into some of the passions that we leave at the door because life is lifing.
Yes.
And other fires come into play in our life. And what happens is the activation is really tapping into, are you connected to yourself and doing what you need to do for you? When's the last time that Lucinda was able to see Lucinda? right? Because we're a part of everybody else's agenda. And I run across that all across the board. We're a part of everybody else's agenda, everybody else's program, everybody else's needs and wants. And it's easy to say, oh, self-care, take a massage. That doesn't take it away. It's easy to say,
Facts.
you know what, maybe just go see a therapist or just go to church or just pray about it. Sometimes that doesn't take it away. It has to become a habit for you to remember you when you spent over decades taking care and being there for others.
It's so true, because I think women are just naturally sacrificial.
Yeah.
Like we'll extend and give to everybody else and be over here just withering away.
Yeah.
And not even realizing that you're withering because you're just so used to giving and doing for others.
Absolutely. And it's the small things, Atoya. You know, I'll talk to some women who, are in upper level management. And something as simple as saying, what is your hobbies? You used to love roller skating. How much joy did that bring you? And how something so simple as that, them tapping into a hobby, changes their health.
Yes.
Because it removes the stress. It brings the fibroids down. You know, believe it or not, it's the things that used to bring us joy. And that's what our bodies and our minds and even our finances, you know, when we're going through these financial transitions, is saying, what are you ignoring that's keeping this hole open? So that it just feels like a dump, and you're never consuming and storing up, right? And so
that's so true.
It's really, you know, how are you activating? What are you holding back on for yourself? How are you cheering yourself on? And not just saying affirmations in the mirror, not just writing down in your journal, but really, really, really saying, yeah, I have to choose me. And this is going to it may look ugly and I may feel guilty about this, but let me write this book. And let me hone in on this. Let me take this solo vacation. I know it's going to seem weird. No one's going to understand it. But let me do this thing for me. How much that can change and activate you to be more for yourself. You know, being selfish so that you can be selfless.
Yes.
At some point in life. Yeah.
That's so true. I think about when you talked about, you know, what did you used to love to do? We do forget those things. Especially when you brought up roller skating, I'm like, ooh, that took me back because I stayed at the roller skating rink. Okay,
come on,
loved it.
Come on.
You as a kid, what type of kid were you? What type of little girl were you? I know you said you were one of 4, right? And you were the only girl.
Only girl.
Only girl. What was little Lucinda like?
little Cindy.
Cindy.
What little Cindy was doing, you know, I am the type of person, they lived in the clouds. So I loved art. I loved dance. I loved anything creative. I loved nature. So I was the type calling my friends to say, hey, we're having a picnic down by the park. I'm bringing the blanket, the Kool-Aid, and the sandwiches. That was me. I'm using my mama's food stamps. I'm getting us some hero sandwiches. We're going to cut them up. You know, I got the speaker and at that time it was the double D batteries, the big batteries,
the big bodies.
And we're going to go down there and we just are going to collect some leaves so that we can make a collage later. And we're just going to talk about how we're going to lose our virginity when we get older.
You was the planner. You was the planner, and you brought all the treats and everything people needed to feel seen.
Yes.
I love that.
What about you?
I've always been a planner. My nickname is Party Planner Barbie. My friends still to this day call me that. It is the ongoing joke. If there's anything that needs to get done, I'm going to plan it. I'm going to have it. I'm going to do it.
Oh my God, I love it.
Yes, I absolutely love it. I've done it for so long, and I didn't even realize I was doing it. To your point, like when you're a kid, or even when I got in college with my teammates, like I had the Thanksgiving dinners. I had the people over to the house, and we would hang out and do karaoke or sit and laugh, and we would do skincare. We would always do something.
Yes.
And I think that being in sports was important for me. But I think it was the sisterhood that was even more important. I love getting together and listening to other women and like asking questions and vibing with them and pulling things from them and them extracting things from me. To me, it's always been something that I fed myself with. I just think that, as women, there's no one that can fill our cup like each other. It's just different.
I'll tell you real quick. I had thinking about this Cindy show. So you're activating me now. So I used to have this Cindy show, right? The Cindy show, and I would have a cardboard box, and I was the interviewer, and I had my little audience with my friends. And my dolls, my Cabbage Patch. You had to bring your Cabbage Patch doll with the birth certificate. And yes, you had to bring your birth certificate and your Cabbage Patch doll. And I would have the Cindy show. And it was, you couldn't tell me I wasn't the best talk show host ever. Yes, seriously.
I wish do you have any, you have to have some type of pictures or something of this.
I have to look for some. I have to look to see if my mother had some, because she would be like, what are you doing? With the cardboard box. Girl.
I am here for it.
Yes.
Little Cindy was getting it early. She was like, let me show y'all how it's done. And that's who you've become now, which is that just goes to show the things that we do as kids, to your point, is just as valuable, I feel like, as an adult, because that made us who we are.
Yes.
And I feel like we forget that along the way. Like sometimes we got to lean back into that kid a little bit more and remember like the imagination and the things that made us smile and laugh. And I'm sure he was probably bossing everybody around. Like, you sit here, you sit over here. I'll let y'all know when y'all can raise y'all's hand in the audience.
You didn't bring your birth certificate. You got to sit on the couch. You're not in the audience. You got to sit on the couch. You're not in the audience. You're not in the audience.
I love it. Mm-hmm. So you've always had this coaching boss type of personality, even as a kid. Because I love experiences. I love, like, you're the planner. I love to create experiences, right? Same with you. I don't like planning them, but I love experiences. I love that. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I know you served as women's leadership empowerment trainer to like many Fortune 500 companies like Nike. I think it was Delta, Essence. Tell us how that leans into this side of you as well.
Absolutely. Just being able to, and they're not only, with these relationships, they also were partners and sponsors of things that I hosted because they believed in me. But for example, Nike flying me out, to LA, to Compton, to talk to the youth and to encourage them and do workshops on creative visualization was amazing. It was an amazing experience for those young girls who were in sports. Yes. And didn't understand how to create and craft that dream outside of their neighborhoods. So that was a great one. Even with Delta, I had no clue that they had a passion with working with marginalized communities and the women in those communities. And so for them to just say, hey, if you have those marginalized communities, put it together, we'll sponsor and support it.
I love that.
Amazing. And so it was those type of connections and relationships that they supported me, and I was able to support what they had as well, without even knowing that they had such great initiatives that they were working on.
And that just goes to show the relationships that you've built, where they trusted you in that capacity, is huge. I think about when you're talking about going and talking to the youth and, being a young little girl, and I'm sure they're all like looking up to you so big-eyed, like, wow, this is so amazing. And I love that you do that. And I love that they choose to do that in spaces where they don't see it. Because if you don't see it, you don't know that you can achieve it. Yes. And that's so important. And I even remember being in sports, and I knew I wasn't going to be in sports forever. But sports was a huge part of my life. But there was also these other sides, like to your point of creative or, speaking or planning and all of these different capacities. Having women like you come in and talk, let these young girls know, sports are here now, but I can create all of these tools moving forward to do something different in a different capacity. And that's what you showed them. That Absolutely. I wish I would have had that, at that age.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it encouraged them to not only continue and do their best in school, but also to support one another, how much likes they had. It was one of those, it's okay. We if we all begin to tell our stories, and some of them even shared, and you see some of them just holding each other and hugging, and let's keep in contact, and I'll show up at your games, and I can help you with math. I'm good with math. And so it was a great community event. Shout out to Nike for hosting that as well. It was a great community event. And so it was great. It was great. And I love doing work like that.
I do too. We're going to have to talk because I would love to do more stuff like that. I love the kids. I love sports. I love showing even athletes. Like I think about athletes now, Lucinda, and I think about how, they come into this space with all of this money. They don't know what to do with it. They don't know how to make it work for them. They don't know how they can give back and fill a different side of them they didn't even know needed to be filled. And so I think about all of that, and it takes different people like you coming in and helping them to think different and see different, to maybe spark the business side, to maybe spark giving back, creating, some type of, what is it called? Non-profit where they can bless other kids and be filled from it and be like, wow, I did this. I've really created something for them that they can then take forward and be great in another capacity. So I think that more of us need to speak to more of us. Yes. Especially the youth, and teach them to dream big.
Yes, absolutely.
Because it's in the dreaming where it happens.
Absolutely. And especially if they hear from someone who has a level of success in their area. You've attained some achievements, financial accolades, whether it's in sports, business, life. And then the comeback to say, and a lot of times this conversation is not had. It's, do this, do that. Just show up here, smile, wave, look good. Right. But it's the conversation that I love to have is what happened at 5? Do we need to tap into the 5-year-old? Do we need to tap into the 10-year-old, the 15-year-old, the 16-year-old? What did it feel like when dad wasn't there and mom was throwing you the ball? What did it feel like when your sister is running track with you to race you, but that wasn't her interest? She just was fast, right? And so and then we can create and build and cultivate something meaningful that you feel proud of giving back and creating for your own. Like you said, whether it's a business, nonprofit, foundation, organization, or even if it's just a fundraiser, right? For this particular area, so it's fulfilling because you get to see yourself at that phase, at that very pivotal moment when you didn't think it was possible, but you knew something was going to happen great. Or you said, you know what, I'm fighting to get to this point. And we go back to that moment. Yeah. And you see a group of people who look like you, who were at that phase and thinking that. Yes. And you're able to give them a key just by showing up and saying, I believe in you. It's a game changer. But they're not, a lot of them are not these young adults, these youth. They call them opportunity youth now. I found out we no longer call them at-risk youth. They're called opportunity youth. Okay. And so a lot of these youth are not hearing enough from those who look like them and succeeded. A math teacher is not going to pour the same inspiration as someone who has the same passion as them.
I agree. I think that, and I think the reason it's so tricky now is social media. Oh, yeah. People think they're doing enough just by posting on social media. That is not the same as going in, walking in, letting kids see you in real life and listen to you and soak that up. To your point, it's the experience that changes everything. And I think a lot of stars, whether it's, in entertainment, in sports, in music, they forget that part. And it's so needed.
Atoya, I'll bring one more thing up before we go to the next point. Okay. And this is something I'm just passionate about because I was that student and I speak to those students, right? You see it happening, but that's for the upper class, A students, the ones who are excelling and doing well. You don't see it for the young man who doesn't want to go to school because he's tired of being bullied because he doesn't have clothes. So it's not that he's not smart. He's just tired of fighting. He's tired of being picked on. And now he's ending up becoming the bully. You don't see it in the groups where the kids are aging out of foster care, right? So there's a huge market. So if you're excelling, oh, we have a guest coming in who's coming to, and some of these things are not like there's the way I go out and we do blanket, and it's the blanket drive and, just passing out blankets and things like that. You'll be surprised how many of these youth just need T-shirts and white socks in sports.
Wow.
Right. Even if I think about my son, he plays basketball, his past basketball teams that he was a part of in sports. A lot of these kids don't have the proper basketball shorts to wear. And so a lot of them are sitting on the bench because they don't have the proper basketball shorts or basketball sneakers. But because they're in the inner city and not a part of a paid basketball program, they're sitting on the side. But he's there because he doesn't want to be in the streets.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to join the game.
That's so good. That's a great example. And it's so interesting. And I teach my kids this too. Always look around and pay attention to someone who looks like you that you think needs a little bit of help.
Oh,
it's so important.
Yes.
There's always someone.
Yes.
And whether it's just inviting them over to have some dinner and play video games, whether it's, asking them if they want to hang out with you and your friends, always look around and pay attention.
Yes.
Because you never know what people are going through behind closed doors.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it's even I'll even talk to women. There's a lot of women that I've coached who wanted to transition out of corporate America.
Okay.
And they still feel stuck. It's like, I've pushed myself. They say I pushed myself to be so successful at my career. And I look back and I didn't accomplish any of the things that I feel I have a purpose for. Right. And so, yeah, it's everybody on every level, needs that help. But like you said, if we can look around, look back and stay aware, especially if we can backtrack to all of our pivotal moments of changing. Mm-hmm. So my heart goes out to the single mother who may have a man in the household, but she operated like a single mother. Because my father was in the house, but mom was the boss, right? But she still struggled. She struggled heavily with the weightlifting. So I understand when it's mom going to work, mom going to school. She has 4 kids. She has to figure out how to feed them. The daughter now has to be the mom, so there's so many layers to it. But if we break down some of our pivotal moments, and they don't have to be sad. It could be, I excelled because of this. I want to pour back into this for individuals in that same space. But we all have pivotal moments that created and helped to mold us into who we are. And these are lights of purpose. Yes. We see our purpose every day. These are lights of purpose. So when that happened, those challenges we've seen, purpose.
Yes. It's so interesting. God put me in this position where I feel like I've been around. My house is like the house. Everybody comes over. Everybody want to hang out. And I accepted it. I'm used to it. But I would always end up having those type of moments with not just my boys, but their friends. And just speaking into their lives, because to your point, they just don't know. And they're looking for someone to give them a little bit of direction and just reminding them, you are not your circumstances.
That's right.
Those circumstances are to motivate you to do better. It is not for you to sit and wallow and stay there. You should be able to step up because and I had to explain to them where I came from. And they were like, what? We didn't know that. I said, because that's not my story. That's not all of my story. That was a moment of motivation for me. And I knew I wasn't going to be there long. I knew I was going somewhere else. I was going to be different. And you have to have that mindset.
Yes.
I was like, you're not the only person that's been through some struggles with your parents, whether it's, drug use, someone not being there, whatever the case may be, you're not the only one. It's what you choose to do with it.
Come on.
And just reminding them of that is so important. Like, well, what are you going to do different? You going to stay here and feel sorry for yourself? Or you going to do something different? What you going to do? And just hearing them now, they'll reach out. Hey, guess what I'm doing now? I'm doing this. Like, that's why we do what we do, because we have to look around and remind these kids of who we are. And not just kids. Us as women need it.
Yes.
Girl, we all have our moments and we need our friends to be like, this is not who you are.
Come on.
Get over here. Let's get you back. What you need. What we need to redirect. Right?
Yep. With no judgment.
With none.
With no judgment.
Just understanding that we've all been there. You know, I don't know if you saw it was a podcast that Brian Clark did with The Pivot. It was just recently. And there was another gentleman from another podcast that they were sitting around talking about Black women. Oh. And it started off one way and then it pivoted into him this white gentleman making some derogatory remarks about Black women. Oh, they're naggers. Oh, they're this. Oh, they're just too strong. They think they know everything. They think this, and and the Black men are just sitting there laughing. And so I say that to say Ryan Clark came on and he delivered it so bad. He said, unless you are married to a Black woman, you do not have the right to speak about a Black woman. Because guess what? My mother was that Black woman, that strong Black woman, because she had to be. And this is what she did for us. And this is how she fed us. And this is how many jobs she had. And if she was not that strong Black woman, I don't know where I would be. And he was like, and secondly, I have a Black wife. So unless you have one, you can't talk about it. Because all that she does, I could never be me if she wasn't who she was. I mean, he just served him. Yes. And he said, and thirdly, he said, Black men have to do a better job of recognizing how women support them, how they lift them up, how they push them, how they cheer them on, how they hold it down while they do what they do. Come on. And then when we make it, we need to remember to turn around and pull them up with us. That's what we're not doing. That's it. And I fell out. That's it. I fell out, Lucinda. I was like, ooh, Ryan Clark, that is an A+. Take that, just bottle that up and send that out everywhere because that speech alone, I think a lot of Black women needed to hear from him and a lot of Black men needed to hear what it truly means to be a leader. You didn't get there by yourself. It was us, whether it was your mama, whether it's your girlfriend, your wife, whoever, we helped you to get there. And then you just turn around and forget where you come from. Make it make sense.
Make it make sense. Yep. Make it make sense. The shoulders you stand on.
Thank you.
The shoulders you stand on.
And you just climb over like you did that by yourself. No, you did not. Don't forget.
It was that Black woman that pulled you out.
It was that Black woman. And the thing about us, we do it in silence. We don't ask for no praise, no accolades. We do it from the bottom of our hearts in humbleness and respect and honor and reverence. And you guys have to start respecting and honoring and reverencing us the way we have you.
Yes.
I know that was a sidebar, but
that was juicy. That was real juicy. That was real juicy.
But that's who we are. We speak into kids' lives, our significant others. Like we speak into everyone's life and each other's lives as women. Yes. We are that. We are life breathers. Period.
Listen. Life breathers.
Period. And I'm not talking about just entry into the world. I'm talking about even when they're here, we're still breathing life into them. We're still telling them how great they are, what they can do. Oh, that happened. Well, what do you think about this? Then they go back and, oh, yeah, guess what? I did this. Oh, you did? Like, and you think, like, you don't remember me telling you that, but I'm going to let that slide. Right? We are that human being to so many.
We are. That's why it hurts so bad. So when I hear that with saying the angry Black woman, the nagging Black woman, it's because of, and it's not, see, if you're not Black, you'll know that it's not angry and it's not nagging. Mm-mm. It's passion.
It's passion.
It's passion. So when you think she's angry, she's passionate. She's passionate. She may even be frustrated on the fact that either things are staying the same and haven't changed. Someone hasn't seen how great they are or have valued who she is.
Yes.
And so when you take that out, you are subtracting pieces of who she is, and that gets frustrating.
Yes.
So it's not anger, it's saying, how dare you not see me?
Yeah.
for all that I have done, meaning all my mother has done, my grandmother has done, my great-great-grandmother has done, my ancestors have done. That means you may not potentially even see my daughter.
Yes.
So it's the subtraction, because what happens is, as the Black woman, as the Black mother, as the Black wife, it's a give and it's a build. And we will take the cement and create a brick out of it and say, don't worry about it. Listen, I know he went out to go do such and such. Let me work on putting this brick together so that we can have a strong foundation.
Yes.
But it gets me when I hear that, but I'm glad that he had such a great rebuttal of truth.
Yes. Shout out to Ryan Clark. It was
shout
beautiful.
out to Ryan Clark to really shine light on that.
Yes. And show it from a different lens that a lot of people forget to see from. And he delivered it so eloquently, and you could see the passion behind what he was saying. And I felt seen, and I felt like so many Black women needed to be seen, and he made them feel seen. And it doesn't take much.
It doesn't. I've seen how Black women show up. Shout out to Black women who are showing up in the visiting rooms at hospitals. Shout out to the ones and know you've been done wrong, right? But you still show up as that prayer warrior, as the nurse. Shout out you in the visiting room, in the prisons, in the jails, bailing out. You still show up in the schools. You still show up when they're injured. Shout out to the women who show up when most of the time people don't show up for you.
That part.
That see
is
you.
Who we are.
We see you and we celebrate you today on this show. We know you have put forth you have the badges and the scars that people don't even see, and you cover them up very well, and you still show up to be there. Yes. We see you. We see you, and we know that you will reap
the blessings. They're coming. Hold on.
Hold on. Don't throw in the towel.
That's right. Hold on, sis. It's definitely coming. Speaking of blessings and speaking of coming, someone came for you and blessed you in a way that I thought was incredible. You received the Lifetime Achievement Award by the man, President Barack Obama. Talk about that, sis.
Listen, you know what's great, so great about it, and I was out of the country when it was time to have the event. So I got a notice, I got the email, and I said, well, wait a minute. No. They said, you have been nominated to receive. I said, no way. So I had to reply back. I replied back, and they asked if I would be able to attend the event that would be in DC. And I was out of the country at that time. And I said, oh my gosh, I so need to be there. But when I received my pin and my award and the signature and the letter, oh, you make me want to run and grab it now. Like that thing, that is up before my children are up, okay? That's it. Our forever president. I said, wait a minute. Recognizing the work for the nonprofit, recognizing the work for the community.
Yes.
And someone that I don't even know recommended me for this, who's seen me do the work and submitted my work.
That's so beautiful.
I can cry right now because that truly meant a lot. It meant a lot. Yeah.
So when you found out, because you still don't know to this day who recognized or who submitted your name, right?
So come to find out, someone at I think it was a prayer brunch or something they had at the White House. Okay. She has been following my work online, and she's the one that submitted. And she messaged me like after I received it to say, I'm glad that you got it. There was no better person to nominate than you. And so you never know who's watching you as you do the work. You never know who's watching you when you're in purpose and on purpose.
That's so good. You talked about, because you were in corporate, but then you also pivoted, right? And you decided to find, this was your purpose. You really wanted to do this. That just goes to show you, like you said this earlier, you said people are in corporate for years, but they this is not filling me. I don't have this is not purposeful, right?
Right.
And you found your purpose. And in that moment, you got the biggest, the best, the most incredible achievement because you leaned into your purpose.
Yes. Yes. And shout out to mentors. You're never too old to get a mentor. You're never too young to get a mentor. You know, if it wasn't for my mentor when I was working, I was in risk management and performance improvement for the health industry, health and hospital industry. And I just knew that there was more. I wanted to tap into more. I always had the entrepreneurial spirit. I talk about the Cabbage Patch Kids. I used to sew clothes for the Cabbage Patch Kids and sell them, you know, always a hustler. Legal hustler. But my mentor really helped to cultivate and groom me. He said, you have a voice, you have a message. And I vowed to follow him and be a complete sponge for years before I even started. And he said, once you get to a certain point financially from working your side hustle and in your purpose, then you make a decision if it's time for you to leave. If not, you stay. But he taught me so many things, how to be a lion, right? Because I was fearful of using my voice. I was fearful of stepping out. I wasn't the one to go in at this time, the networking rooms and passing out business cards. That wasn't me. And we can't expect success to come to us, but it was helping me to get out of my shell, following him around, watching him maneuver, and just being a servant leader at that time. And, you know, now
servant leader. That's a word right there.
And now the student has become the master.
Hey, in due time.
In due time, and still learning. But this was many, many years ago, but I still live and stand on those principles that he taught me and the value that he taught me. Shout out to Andrew Morrison. You have done such a great job. I appreciate you.
That's beautiful. So I want to talk to you from a perspective of there's a woman listening right now.
Yeah.
And she's in corporate.
Okay.
And is paying the bills. But she wants to do something else. She wants to fulfill that purpose, but she can't leave corporate because that's paying the bills. And, you know, like to your point, there comes a point in time where you can get there. What would you say to her?
Just, if you could put time in working for someone else to live, and I'll say this quote, you can either add more years to your life or more life to your years. If you can put that much time into helping to build someone else's company, organization, and it's paying you well, and you're living comfortably, why not add some spice into your life, some fire into your life by tapping into something that you were created to do? Because oftentimes we'll forget about what we're created to do and really take time to say, God, what do you have for me to do here? And add that and move slowly into that and allow it to grow at its own pace. I don't say leap and jump because we don't need you on the unemployment line. But oftentimes, if you do feel the push and you're like, I feel the push to leave, I feel the push. That was for me. I felt the push and I took slow steps before becoming a full entrepreneur. But if you are that corporate woman and you are in a space where you're comfortable, why not make time to do something also that feeds you, since you're feeding everyone else from your 9 to 5, your 5 to 9, and all the other things, because many of you take your work home, right?
Yes.
And too tired and exhausted to even live. So start doing little things. Start your purpose. Start writing down what are the things that mean, what are my values? Okay. What is purposeful to me? Who would I like to help? You know, where would I like to go? What does me stepping into servant leadership look like? And it can be very rewarding, financially rewarding, right? But it's up to you, but you have to start taking those steps. So in that long story, just start. Start with something and make a list. What are the things that I love to do or used to do? What are some of the things that, and a lot of times success leaves clues. What are some of the things that Nana used to do? What are some of the things that my mom used to say she wanted to do but never did? Success leaves clues. And oftentimes, even in our own DNA, it'll tap us to say, don't forget about this. You have a passion for fashion. Don't forget about this. You're really great with your hands. You make a mean sweet potato pie. Don't forget about this. You remember you're great at mentorship. You do it at your job, coaching, and you're frustrated with those knuckleheads. There's a whole boys and girls club, YMCA down the block. They would love to hear from you. So take small steps into that and see where it goes, but plant the seed first.
That's really good. Okay, and what would you say to that person that maybe took the leap, or just not even took the leap, but decided to lean into entrepreneurship? Because we all know in entrepreneurship, there's struggle. People don't talk about it.
No, God.
Their struggle. What would you say to that person in entrepreneurship that is struggling?
My good friend Tiffany, the budgetnista, she said, we were sitting down eating, and she said, entrepreneurship will make you cry before it makes you money.
Ooh!
Entrepreneurship will make you cry before it makes you money. That's something I had to realize. So for that entrepreneur, you took the leap. Understand there is going to be phases, just as if you are raising a child. There's going to be so many different phases. Sometimes it feels good. Sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it's going to feel like it works, and sometimes it doesn't. Whether you have one client, no clients, or some clients, you still have to, it's the consistency. Entrepreneurship is about habits, and it's about discipline. And it's constantly doing it, even if you don't see results just yet. It's constantly pushing yourself, because I feel like it's just God saying, you really want this? Let me see.
That's good. Lucinda, thank you so much for gracing the podcast. It was such a joy and pleasure. I really enjoyed myself.
Thank you for having me. We had so much fun.
All right. Well, that's our show. For the latest on the Inside Lines podcast, make sure to follow on both Instagram and Facebook. You can also check out the website, InsideLinesPodcast.com, and listen to your favorite episode. Lastly, check out the YouTube page, Inside Lines Podcast, and make sure to subscribe and hit the bell so that you know when a new episode comes out. And please leave an amazing 5-star review online and let us know who you'd like to hear on Inside Lines Podcast. Until next time, leave it all out on the field. Thanks for listening.